This is Ray Dunlap with Dunlap and Associates here in Peachtree City, Georgia. What I'd like to do is to talk to you a little bit about the year that just ended, 2023. We saw a number of things happen in 2023. We saw India, for instance, become the most populous nation in the world, surpassing China. We saw a war break out between Israel and Hamas that still goes on today. We saw escalation of the war between Ukraine and Russia. But one thing we did not see that so many people predicted, we did not see a recession. At the beginning of 2023, many economists, many very smart economic leaders predicted that we would have a very severe recession in this country, in the world, in 2023, and it never happened. And if that shows us anything at all, it's that you can't see into the future. Trying to predict the future, if there's a financial advisor out there that says he or she can tell you what the stock market's going to do in the next month, the next quarter, the next year, they're lying because nobody knows. Things happen. We are very astute in terms of looking at trends and trying to anticipate things, but my crystal ball doesn't work any better than anybody else's crystal ball. And here's what happened to significant numbers of investors. After 2022, which was a disaster by most measurements, a lot of people decided they just didn't want the risk of staying invested in the stock market. They moved to CDs because interest rates had come up, CDs started looking more attractive, there's no downside risk, etc. And a lot of people moved their money out of stocks and into things like certificates of deposit, cash, etc. And here's the ironic twist to that. The stock market had one of its best years ever in 2023. The S&P 500 was up over 26% for the year. The NASDAQ was up over 44%. The Dow was up about 17%. And if you were sitting on the sidelines because you were too nervous after 2022, this is what you would have missed. Part of my job and part of Renee's job as financial advisors is to make sure that we keep our clients invested so that their goals, their long-term goals, are going to be able to be met. And sometimes that's painful. I remember a very famous investor named John Templeton, Sir John Templeton, actually. He used to say that the best time to buy in the stock market is when there's blood in the streets, especially if it's your own blood. And this is a hard concept for people to grasp because they see their portfolios getting beaten up and they want to run. And that actually is the time when we should be buying. Warren Buffett said once, and it's very funny, he said, the best time to buy straw hats is in the wintertime. You know, we buy straw hats in the summer when the sun is beating down on us, but they're more expensive then. You buy things when they're on sale. And that's when stock prices get beaten up, everything is on sale. And people that took advantage of that back in the last quarter of 22 or the first quarter of 23 have benefited from it in a very meaningful way. So part of the art of being a good investor is not trying to predict what's going to happen. One of the reasons that there's so much wealth built into 401k plans is that it is a forced, systematic way for people to save money. And what happens is you buy into the dips because you're putting money in every paycheck, whether that's once a month or twice a month. Every time you get a paycheck, a portion of that paycheck gets invested. And it has nothing to do with whether the market's doing well or the market's doing poorly. Every time that paycheck hits, you have money being invested. And what happens when the market goes down, and it inevitably will go down, you're buying more shares of those same investments with the same dollars. That's called dollar cost averaging, and that is one of the greatest ways to build wealth. So what we want to do is to make sure that our clients don't miss And so there are strategies that we can use today that allow you to have money invested in the market with some downside protection, some real downside protection, but yet your upside potential is going to be based on what the market does. And so when the market does well, you're participating, but if the market does poorly, you have a level of protection to keep you from losing significant amounts of money. And if that strategy has some appeal to you, this is something that we should probably talk about. Keep in mind, these strategies, they didn't exist 5, 6, 7 years ago. Wall Street can get creative when markets inevitably turn downward. And that's exactly what we've seen. We've seen certain investments now that have, like I said, some very meaningful downside protection, but still allow you to participate in the market. Because here's the ironic twist. If you've lost money in the market, the only way you're going to make it back is by being invested in the market. When you put money in CDs, you can't lose anything, but you're not going to make enough money to recover those losses. This is something that we can have a conversation about, and we can show you different strategies that can help protect you. If that sounds appealing to you, give our office a call, schedule either a telephone appointment or an in-office appointment, and we can go over some of those strategies with you, because we think 2024 offers great opportunities for investors, and we don't want any of our clients to miss out. So again, I appreciate your time. I hope this was somewhat helpful for you, and I look forward to hearing from some of you, and we can talk about these strategies. Thank you very much.